I was talking with a mom this week, and her big complaint was, how on earth am I supposed to find time for me when I'm meal planning? I've got the kids going to sports 4 times a week. We've got church on the weekends. We've got youth group on Wednesday nights, and I work. How on earth am I supposed to find time for myself? That just seems so unrealistic. And I'd have to agree. Well, hi there. I'm Dawn from Living by Heart. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a homeschooling mom, and most of all, a Jesus lover. So let's talk about it. We don't have enough time to honor our hearts. That is basically the theme that I hear from most females. It doesn't matter whether you are single or whether you are married with children or if you work or you stay home. All of us have myriad opportunities to fill our time. And I think what often happens is that the things that restore us, the things that we would consider self-care or soul care, are often cast aside because we are caring, loving people. And there are so many opportunities to give and to commit our time and to do so in a loving way. And I really believe that all of you who are listening are similar in that way, that you are givers. And yet, our biggest pitfall, I think, that actually allows us to not become givers is when we don't honor our own hearts. And we have to know that we matter, that our hearts matter, and that actually they belong as one of the first priorities on our weekly list. So let's get practical about what this might look like in terms of actually putting time on the schedule for your own heart. And I just want to be super real with you guys. I actually feel like I'm one of the worst offenders. And this week in particular, I felt so drained, and I really was trying to reflect on what had shifted, because really my life circumstances were the same. But what I realized is that I actually began homeschooling about a month ago after the entire summer being off. And so I'm at about now 4 weeks of schooling, working, and of course, maintaining the home and the family and all the activities and all the things that you all do. And so I am feeling it. And so what I didn't adjust when I was making our fall schedule is I should have reverse engineered my self-care, and I should have chunked that in much earlier as a much higher priority, because I want to live an empowered life where I am full and I am restored and I am living from a full place ready to give away, rather than a depleted place always trying to catch up. And I definitely have felt like I'm more in that depleted camp this week. And so if that's you today, I just want to encourage you, let's do this together. Let's hold each other accountable of putting ourselves on the list and really making self-care, but even more so soul care, a huge priority. So when I sit down to make my weekly list, it occurred to me, wow, I really haven't scheduled in the non-negotiables of my life and treated them like an appointment. And so if we're really going to start with our list of priorities, we will look at God, then we will look at marriage if you're married, then we would want to do family, and then we would want to do friendships and activities and things that come after that. And so I think what could be really valuable is first for you to sit down and to realize, how do I recharge in these different areas? How do I want to connect with God? And how much time does that require on a daily level and on a weekly level? How do I want to connect with my husband? How often? What does it look like? What does it look like to have a date night? Let's start with our ideal and then whittle it down to what's realistic. But start with what the heart's desiring first, and then move out from there into practicalities. Specific to self-care, I think it can be helpful to figure out, okay, what refills my cup? For real. What is it? And to be unapologetic about it. And so to schedule it. I empower you to schedule it, to get with your calendar before it fills up with the meal planning and the sports and the date nights and the church activities, to really make it a priority. First, schedule your time with Jesus. Treat it like an appointment, and then schedule your heart refilling time, whether that's a pedicure or a time with a girlfriend, a walk around the lake, or shopping with no purpose. Whatever it is, if it ministers to you, it's good. But we want to make sure that whatever we choose actually gets that spot. Like when somebody has an itch on their back and we're trying to find it, and then they go, oh, that's it. That's what you're looking for with self-care. You want to choose the activity that actually gets right to the spot. And for me, that has varied throughout the years and throughout life stages. Just be honest with yourself of like, gosh, what really sounds good right now? And to get in touch with your own heart and ask Jesus to help you. He made you after all, and so he knows exactly what's going to fill you up and exactly what's going to refresh you during that particular week or day. We need self-care really on a daily basis, but then also on a weekly basis. And so when we think about our heart making it on the list, if you're kind of a weekly planner kind of person, if you have a planner, I would start with your God time, because that, as we've discussed, is an act of worship. Having your time with the Lord is self-care and is an act of worship. And self-care itself is an act of worship, because it's when we admit that we need God and we need more, and we can't refresh without him, and we can't do it all without him. And so when we humble ourselves to receive care, and we could call it God care, we then are asking him, Lord, how would you like to refresh me this week? It doesn't have to be super expensive or luxurious or even look a certain way. So I want to give you all kinds of permission that this can be absolutely anything. And he knows you best. He put you all together after all. So he knows what you need. And so involving him in that process. And then my encouragement to you is to put that on your weekly calendar first. And then the trick, of course, is to abide by it, to make sure that you are actually following the appointment that you've set up for yourself, but to really be intentional that at least once a week, you are doing something for your heart only. So I will often sit down on Saturday or Sunday night and kind of look ahead at our homeschool week, and I will ask myself the question, what am I going to do for myself this week, Lord? And he will often give me a leading. And so that is the very practice that I want you to incorporate and integrate into your life. And when you hear what he says, do what he asks, do what he invites you to, because you will have some of the most beautiful experiences with him. It is so lovely to involve him in the self-care and to really realize how simple it can be to honor our own hearts. But so often we just don't slow down enough to do it. And then we end up depleted, and we're such a drag to be around, or at least I feel that way about myself sometimes. And so I want to be a whole person. And so out of that place of wanting to be a blessing, let that be your motivation. If you can't say to yourself, I am worth it, and this is why I am choosing to make this a priority, try to couch it in how you will be a better person for those around you, because you'll have something to give away. And so often we don't take the time because we feel like it could be selfish. But I want you to start with the opposite. The world tells us to start with all of our extracurricular activities and then really be in kind of reactive mode, fit it in when we can. But really, I'm encouraging you to turn your schedule upside down and to structure it the way that we would do so, not what the world would say. So start with God and then add in the rest, and let's hear how it changes your weekly experience.